And hello to all my Aries friends, I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your free psychic tarot reading for May 2023. Now today they have dialed up for my great Aries a very specific spread. We're going to do a love spread. I know you guys love love spreads. Spirit's calling for that this month. Now thankfully for me, we're going to set this up in the storyline format, which allows me to be very accurate because it's a scatter shot across the entire sign of Aries. We're telling different stories for different Aries and different love and family dynamic situations. So therefore, we're going to find a story in here that is right for you, all about you. You may have multiple stories that do resonate with you while we go through these, but at the end of the day, it's all about finding that one that is a home run for you, and we're going to do that today, Aries. So lots of love stories ahead of us. They've also asked that I conclude your reading with the Chakra Scrub. Now that is very neat and exciting. You guys are the only sign getting Chakra Scrub this month, so what is going on with the spiritual here? The spiritual health of Aries, that's what the Chakra Scrub is, and that way we can pinpoint troublesome areas that are kicking great, areas that we can improve upon and get kicking higher. So that's going to be interesting as well. And we are always going to conclude with the runestone. So that just ties the whole thing together into this nice little bow project that we call May. So we have a lot to talk about, Aries, and some new products to go over as well. So let's get started right now. The cards are already shuffled. I do that ahead of time to save us all a whole bunch of time. And now I'm going to bring you in my overhead so you can watch. And we are on and recording. What I'm doing now, Aries, these are my ritual cuts, basically cutting each deck into thirds, putting them back together in a separate order. That satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot, and it's the same procedure for personal, private readings. So it's just like you're here with me now. So the storyline spread, which is the format that we're using here for your love spread, starts with 5 cards. I expand out from there where I need to go. So these are your first 5 cards, the most important, if you will. And we do need more than that. We have a few people cards in here. We'll address them momentarily. But first, I didn't get my stop order from Spirit, so we continue. And that is actually going to be our end right there. I know that because this gentleman is facing this way. Not a clear facing, but more than facing forwards. So this deck actually is known for very large storylines. I'm surprised this didn't actually go larger than it is. So here we go. First, the inverts. We have 1, 2, 3. Good distribution, middle of the road there. So that part is going to stay the way that it is. Now what I'm going to do now, I need to get my pairings together. This is always the complicated part. But sometimes Spirit does this, makes it a little easier for me, giving me the signs, the suits that are together there. We have swords all together here and, a little bit of facing there, but not so much. These guys are going to go together, and is that going to be one big story? No, it's going to be a standalone. So we're going to do 3. It's going to look like this, essentially. Now I need more cards to describe. These are 2 pip cards, so they just get 1 card. Saying what's going on with that story? Well, it started with 1 card, but now that it's a person, now I need to see if we're using the energetic definition or the actual court person there. I did a discard off the camera, but that was basically Spirit saying, no, we're using the energetic definition there, so that story is all set. Coming over here, we have another king we need to do a discard for. We're going to leave that one in the story. They did not say a person again, so we're using the energetic definition again. That pip card is going to stay the way it is, so this story is also complete. Coming down here, this is the 3rd story. I have a queen. I need to see if that's a person, and this one it is because I have a princess, another person card. That lets me know that we are talking about a person here with my queen, and I do need to know what this queen is doing. And they talk about another person perhaps, so I'll do 1 more card, and that one, no, we're using energetic definition of this one. And then this story is also complete. I'm checking the discards 1 more time, or the facings, or the inverts, I should say, the upside down cards. And we don't have enough to matter anywhere, so that's good news. That makes it easy for the camera, the sake of time for the camera here. So now I just need an Oracle Angel card for every story, so I'm attaching to each of the stories, pulling an Angel Oracle card for those. Then it's just a matter of making sure you can see it on the camera, and we are ready to go with your love spread. Let me yank this off of here, make sure you can see everything nice and clear. Story number 1 is going to be right here. Love Story Aries 1. Love Story Aries 2 going to be up here. Lots of swords. Swords is the mental cerebral suit. And Story 3 Aries going to be down here with my woman, the queen. So let's get started. We got to do your Chakra Scrub too. That does take some time, so let's get to it. This is a pretty easy read, I must say. This is nice, crisp, and clear. You guys are coming through very good. That's nice to see. Story number 1, Aries. Let's start at the beginning. The attachment card that they bring in, this is what you can use to kind of figure out if this story is about you or if it is not. Okay, so the first thing they talk about here is getting over kind of spilled milk here, getting over some funk, maybe in your heart, maybe with a loved one, maybe with a relationship, something like that. It's the clearing of it, though. So it's not like you're experiencing the heavy grief, the heavy burden right now. It's showing it's being cleared. So if you're in the process of clearing burden, drama, that kind of stuff with your heart, this could very well be your story here in story number 1. So that is what's going on. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily clear. It doesn't really kind of tell me how far along you are with this process, but that is our attachment card. So that's the important one. Now, the thing that pops in here very interestingly enough is large money. It's a weird thing to come in a love spread, but I did ask Spirit, hey, are we talking about a man here with this King of Pentacles? And they said, no, we are not. We're using energetic definition here. So this is a big chunk of money here going on. So something with the family, hopefully money coming in, guys. I don't view that as a bad thing at all. So I don't think it's money going out unless it's money going out for something you really wanted to purchase for a while, something like that. But it's a huge chunk of money, and why it's coming up, I'm not sure. But I view this as a good thing. Very good omen there for my Aries in story 1. So what do we do with that? The last part of, well, there's 2 more moving parts here. The 8 of Swords comes in, so this kind of shows that there is a relationship kind of hang up here a little bit, kind of 2 people. If you go back to my overhead view when I showed you the stories, the 8 of Swords in this deck that they wanted to use for you is showing 2 people that are kind of standing back to back, kind of cold-shouldered a little bit, not seeing eye to eye, or just, you know what, hey, we just need our space a little bit here. We need to, kind of spread this out. A little bit of space is required here in story number 1. So this can also be a little bit of confinement too. You may feel a little bit stuck in a relationship or stuck with something that is close to your heart, because keep in mind that the love corner expands out to your family, your loved ones, anybody close to your heart. I've even seen pets come in the love spreads. Okay, so that's what they're talking about here, kind of 2 people not seeing eye to eye and so forth. And anytime we talk about swords, I have to give you the disclaimer that swords sometimes is a mental thing. So this may not even be real. Maybe it's something that you've made up in your head. Maybe it's not real at all. Maybe it's illusionary. So just keep that stuff in mind, because you don't want to give that stuff too much energy if it's not real. If it hasn't happened yet, don't be stressful or have a lot of anxiety towards a situation that you expect to happen before it actually happens, because what if it never does? Okay, then you just wasted all that energy. So what we have last is Chaos and Conflict card. So that just shows here in story 1 that what you guys are trying to do here, or what they're referring to here, is a bunch of mixing and matching that is very complicated. These parts do not go together. It's like a puzzle piece, and it's supposed to fit in there. It looks like it could fit in there, but it actually doesn't. I'm sure everybody's put together a puzzle at some point, a complicated one, and you're pretty sure these pieces can go together, but there's something a little bit off with it. It just doesn't really work. Okay, so that's what's going on here. It doesn't mean that you can't make it work. It just means that it's complicated. It means it's tough. You're trying to put these pieces together that don't really go that well. Maybe it's 2 different energies, 2 different people that are very different people. Maybe one person is very outgoing. One person is very shy and calm. One person is this. One person is this. You know what I mean? So Chaos and Conflict in this deck, this is a zebra with giraffe patterns. And there is kind of an overlay of a giraffe with zebra stripes. So that indicates how different these energies are, how different people are trying to make this thing work, and you can make it work. Okay, that's the good news. The bad news is that it's a little tricky. It's a little complicated, and it's probably going to take some patience, take some work. Okay, so there we go, story 1. Let's move into story 2. Story 2, Aries, we start with my Death by 1,000 paper cuts card. That's what I call my 10 of Swords in this deck. This basically is attaching to my Aries here that have gone through some really tough, it's not like it's been a huge deal, but this is just annoying. Whatever is going on in your love corner here, maybe something with the family, maybe something with an ex, who knows, something like that. It's just annoying. It's just a nuisance. It's just like a paper cut. A paper cut is not deadly. It's not a major concern. You don't need stitches for a paper cut, but you know what it is? It's kind of a pain in the butt, especially if it's in a bad spot and you move this part of your arm a lot, and then every time you move it, you're reminded that you got a paper cut there because it stings. Okay, so this has a little sting to you. So if you've been through something like that recently, and this is your attachment card for May, this can be your story here in May. Okay, Aries. Now let's talk about what's behind it. Next, I have my King of Swords, but they said not the person, though. So we're talking about the energetic definition of the King. So this is basically saying there is some authority that you Aries here need to kind of step up with. You need to exude a little bit more manly energy. Manly energy and woman energy, they're both great for different things. And in this case, they're saying, hey, you got to be a little bit more of a man here. So what does that mean? Be a little bit more firm. Stand your ground. Make your decisions for yourself. These are characteristics that usually are more masculine. But at this time, even if you're not a man tuning into, and this is your story, what they're saying here is it's time for you to step up. It's time for you to act a little more manly here. Be in more control of what is going on in your love corner with the family, with your relationships and so forth. Make the decisions for yourself instead of letting everybody else choose for you. That's what Spirit's saying. Now, what is going on here is that there is a calm in the storm, okay? So a lot of you feel like you've been through the ringer here. War and Chaos is my card, but in this deck, this is a much lighter energy of it. So it's saying, find the relaxation through it. Okay, so while you're going through dynamics with the family that are complicated or a relationship that are complicated, and you go back to the stinging and the painful parts of the paper cut, hey, you know what? There are some parts here where you can just relax a little bit. You don't need to stress out. We did talk about that a lot already with my swords card, and this entire story is swords. So just make sure, guys, that this is real stuff that you're dealing with and you're not in your own head too much. We don't want that, Aries, because we got to get more into the logical realm of things and not the imaginary one, okay? And that's what the cerebral suit of the swords can bring up some more often than not. We end with the Oracle Angel card by the book. This makes me feel like this is more like you doing things with your group, your family, maybe going on a trip, maybe a short weekend trip, maybe just an excursion of some form, doing something like that. But also, when it says by the book, I have to kind of give you the thorough definition, which is like this is the time when you want to be very, you don't want to guess things here. You want to be sure about what you're doing. That's why they say by the book. So make sure you're thorough. Make sure you're not accusing somebody of something that you think they're doing if you don't really know. Okay, that's just gonna stir up the pot and nothing good's gonna come of that. Okay, so by the book, doing things with your family, your group. They show 3 people here. In this case, it's elephants. 3 elephants, kind of in a tail pattern, like what they do in circuses when they walk. Okay, so it makes me feel like 3 people going to do something together. Maybe you're one of these 3. Maybe you and 2 other people. Maybe a smaller part of your family or something like that. So by the book comes up. I have to always warn you guys about being thorough here. Don't jump to conclusions or anything like that. Now, before we get into story 3, story 3 is chocked full of stuff here. So before we get into that, I want to cut away real briefly to tell you about the brand new gemstone and the brand new product on the website. Okay, guys, it is moon cycle forecast time, but first I'm going to break order a little bit here because I'm just so excited about the new gemstone in the shop. I got to tell you about it first. I can't wait, and it is citrine. You notice I got citrine here on my work table here, my tarot table. I got raw citrine. I also have a piece of gemstone tumbled, polished citrine. I love them both so much that I have them both here, but citrine is a must for business, for profession. If you have an office, a place of business, citrine is huge for that. A host of other great things too. Basically, clear quartz under different pressure becomes citrine, and under a different pressure becomes amethyst. So huge high vibration stone there. You're gonna see right here the different pictures of the citrine. They are large, just like my piece that's on the table here, the tumbled one, as well as the write-up. The write-up, I'm just going to go over it very quickly because I want you to go to the website and check it out. Check out the full scope of all the great things citrine does for your health, for spiritual health, for metaphysics, the whole lot. It's great for so many things, guys. Worth checking out. ScottSagent.com. While you're at ScottSagent.com, make sure you're signed up for the newsletter. We're going to be doing a free reading here very soon. Just, a little bird in my ear here telling you a little bit of advice ahead of time that there is a free reading coming. So if you know anybody interested in free readings, tell them to join the newsletter. Also, the newsletter sign up is free on the website, ScottSagent.com, on the bottom of every single page. So let's talk about that new product on the website. It is a huge one, guys. It is called Telling Time. More than likely, you've seen me do a Telling Time reading for your sign before. It comes up once in a while. Now, last month was huge. I did 4 telling times for the different signs, and they don't come up very much. So that's Spirit's way of saying, hey, you know what, Scott? We got to get telling time out there to the public, to the masses, get them on with this. Now, what is telling time good for? Telling time presents a window of opportunity for you. Within the next year, usually it is set in the future, and it's Spirit's way of saying, hey, this is the best time to do this. So if you have a question with the word when in there, That is what telling time is good for. When should I sell my house? When should I start looking for a new job? When would be a good time for me to find true love? When is a good time for me to start a 401k? When is a telling time deal? That is available right now on the website, scottsagent.com. I'll show you examples of that too. There's a link on there if you want to see more about telling time. But let's get those moon cycles, guys, because we have what is called a new moon. That is called a black moon coming in the month of May. But the first thing that hits, guys, is on May 5th, and that is our full moon. Most people view my videos right here, beginning of the month, May 1, 2, and 3. And if that's the case, and that's you are in that full moon energy right now, guys, and this is the best time in the entire month to get anything out of your life that you don't want there anymore at all, that you got to get rid of. Could be a person. You got to purge some people out of your life, some negativity. Maybe some of you got to sell something, finish up an old project, repurpose something. If it's got to go out of your life, kick a bad habit, doesn't matter what it is, but the full moon energy presents great opportunities to do such things. Adversely, we have that new moon energy that comes in kind of middle to late part of the month. That hits on the 19th, the apex there, but you don't have to do these things on the exact date. You know, there is a flow of the tides going in. If tides coming in, tides coming out, but these are the moon cycles. So here is your new moon energy hitting on the 19th, but pretty much a week around there is the greatest time to bring things in to your life. If you're trying to attract it, you're trying to get a new job, you're trying to bring in new money, you're trying to bring in new love. If the word new is attached to it, new health. New moon. Very easy to remember in that way. It is called the black moon because it's the third new moon in the season. It's a little slang there. It's called the black moon. And of course, the new moon is the absence of the moon, so it makes sense. So that is the moon cycles of what's going on. Brand new products in the shop I'm very excited about. You guys got to check it all out when you can, when you find time. Make your way over to the website. But let's get back to your reading. Okay, Aries, we are back here with story number 3, and I've just given this some thought while I cut away there, and the moon cycles are going to be less relevant to Aries than normal. Okay, it doesn't mean you cannot implement positive change, whether you're adding something to your life, taking something out of your life for removal, but they didn't talk about it here in your stories. So it doesn't mean you can't do it. It just doesn't mean that there's one that is more significant to you than the other. So I would pay attention to what you're trying to do in your life right now and which one it falls under. So let's hit your story 3, guys. Hit this ground running here, story 3. This is the one where we talked about a woman. I have my queen come up here. Now, this doesn't mean that this could not be all male also, but this would be a very feminine male if that was the case. So for most people here, this is a biological female they are referring to. Now let's talk about why she's coming in here, because this could be you or this could be somebody else. I always think when they do this that they're talking about somebody else, because this spread is already for you. So why would they have to tell you and then you again? So I always kind of start at least with the way that you're tying this context into how it implements into your life, that this is probably another woman that is in your life and one that is very close to your heart as well. So what this woman is doing, she's coming in very good and clear. So there's no issue with her at all. But there's something here, and they also let us know. I'm just going to jump to the oracle card first because this says not for you. So this is Spirit's way of saying here that this message needs to be relayed. Okay, this is less about you and more you helping this other person or getting this message through to help them out. Maybe set them on the right direction, because this is a love spread and love is the people close to your heart. So this, what greater person could there be that they talk about here? This is somebody that is very important to you. So let's talk about what this is. First of all, the timing. They bring in message here late in May for this person. That means not early in May. This is going to be May 15 through the end of May, somewhere in there. There's an opportunity for this person, for this woman. It makes me feel a little bit work-related. It's a weird thing to come up for a love spread, but the love is the attachment, okay? So that's what's pulling your attachment. If you know who I'm talking about, somebody that is close to you who's trying to do something with work or retirement, business, entrepreneurship, college classes, stuff like that, it could very well be this person. Hopefully that helps you narrow it down a little bit here. So what this person is doing late in May, okay? They talk about being in between two different spots. This person is kind of like either a little constricted at their current job, don't like what they're doing, need to get more freedom and mobility going on, maybe trying to do too many things at once also, where they just need to do one instead of two. And Spirit is saying here we need a break from the two. And this is also about perception, a little less in this deck than other decks. But here, this is the person who is looking at the world and needs to see the bigger picture. And in reverse, it's the opposite. It's basically saying you need to look at what's right in front of your face. This person does. So it's almost like they're missing they're looking at too big of a picture, and they're missing what's right in front of their face. So maybe this is a loved one, like a loved one of theirs. Maybe they've been on and off with this ex of theirs, and maybe the problem is them. And maybe this person is really great for them, and they just need to get out of their own way a little bit. That's just one silly example, but you understand the vibe of what is going on here. So it's basically saying, like, look what's right in front of your face. And even if they're talking about the work, the job here for this person, look at what's right in front of your face. What could that mean? That could mean something like local, something that's close by, something that you've been thinking about lately. That would be right in front of your face, okay? So this message is not for you guys, so it's very important. Now, when they do something like this, especially, this makes me feel that a lot of Aries can be in multiple stories. So by the time we get here, you've probably already kind of decided where you're at, but I'm going to just tell you, you might want to go back through it one more time, because there may be parts in each of them for you, because this is more of a kind of a side shoot, if you will, and we have our main two stories right there that we covered first. So very good, guys. Let's get into your rune stone. Going to pull that before the chakra scrub. These are already mixed up. I'll give them one more swirl. And here we go, rune stone for Aries for May. It's going to be this one right here. There we go. We have some gateway going on. Gateway. Gateway is a bridge between this chapter in your life and the next. So what are you guys trying to bridge here with this gateway that is an opportunity, perhaps in May, that creates an open position here for you to make positive change? Okay, so gateway in story number 1 is this chunk of money, whatever they mean by that, coming in and trying to put this puzzle piece together, because it can be done, just very difficult, okay? Very complicated, needs a lot of energy, okay? So this can be done with the gateway there. And then gateway in story 2. Gateway here is, I feel like it's more of it's about the journey than it is about the destination, okay? It's just like you're trying to find the peace in the storm. So things are not always going to be smooth. And especially in May, if you're here in story 2, it's probably going to be a choppy May. And that doesn't mean that you should be discouraged by it. That just means that you should be thorough. That's why we talked about buy the book. And with gateway coming in here, they're saying that you can really move this into the next phase very, very successful here. And then gateway in story 3 is your ability to gateway for another person, basically be a translator and be like, hey, you channel and you hand off the message how you feel is best for you. Maybe the other person, they're not into tarot. They're not into any kind of psychic type of activity. So maybe you got to address it to them in a different way. Hey, I had this idea in a dream. I had a dream about you and I thought this, so something like that. So consider your audience, or if they're into this kind of stuff, give them a link to the video and have them check it out for themselves. And hey, I thought about you when I checked this out, and you should check it out for yourself. Story 3 seems all about you. So there we go. So even if they're not an Aries, very important. Gateway. So let's get into your chakra scrub. How many cards did I use? I used right at my limit, so we are good. We're going to kind of roll it without cutting out. Anytime I use more than 10 cards, I like to reshuffle, give Spirit a chance to use the rest of the cards, but we didn't do that. I did on discards, but discards we're just not going to count those. So here we go. We're going to run the chakra scrub 1 through 7. I may talk about it in a different order, but at least here we go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. They almost all came in upright too. Very interesting. Good clean read on Aries this month, which I always appreciate. Major Arcana here, need an Oracle card there. Just one. And I think we're good with everything else. I got to see if that's a person. Nope. All right, we're good. All right, Aries, this is available as a personal product on my website. If this is something that interests you, hey, the Chakra Scrub, we're giving it for the whole sign of Aries, but what if you just want yours? Okay, well, the Chakra Scrub is available very affordably as part of the mini reading series there. You can check that out on scottsagent.com and get your own. People love the chakra scrubs. So I'm going to actually start, doesn't matter which way I go. I'm going to go top to bottom. So here we go with 1. This is your crown chakra, your connection to the solar, the lunar, the higher spatial dimensions. Here they show 6 of Wands, so it's a good success, good organization. It's coming in pretty good. And there are kind of people behind the scenes, which people behind the scenes feels more angelic to me. So you have help here going on from the realms beyond. So Aries, very well connected here. A lot of help, a lot of spirit guide help jumping in here in May. Next thing we show as we move down into your third eye. Your third eye is coming in wonderful as well. They gave us the trophy case card here. So this is saying there's an accomplishment here. Third eye accomplishment. Hey, maybe you guys have done some kind of meditation, or maybe you will, because I talked about it here. They're saying you can do this very, very well and implement great change into your life, and also pay attention to your dreams. When we have third eye come in there, that is lucid dreaming as well. So lots of good stuff there. You guys are coming in very good all throughout. Now here, this is where we get into a little bit of rough waters here when we move down to the third spot, which is your throat, your Vishuddha Chakra. And here, this is an expression, this is a communication and stuff like that. It's just saying that there's a kink in the hose type of thing. If you ever watered a garden with the hose and sometimes nothing comes out, and you walk back and you find out there's just a kink in the hose. So that's what's going on here with your expression. And that way that ends up affecting you is that you just don't do it very well. You're not good at expressing yourself, like, oh, I didn't mean it that way type of thing. Or you're just not good at communicating your point. Oh, you're not understanding my side of the story. These kind of things can happen when your throat chakra is a little kinked up. Thankfully, that is one that I have on my website. I do a guided meditation on the throat chakra. If that's something that you hear this message and you say, oh yeah, well that would be very good for me. And that is free. That is on my website, scottsagent.com. Check that out, guys. Get your throat chakra expression going, kicking real nice. Next, we move down into the heart chakra. Empathy, love, devotion. Here they show being in a very defensive position. So you guys are being a little guarded here with your heart in the month of May. And, maybe it's necessary, but at the same time, maybe it's not. So just keep in mind who you're guarding your heart from, who you allow in and who you don't. Some people, don't deserve the big walls and the big defense act just because you've been through the ringer and you maybe been through some rough ones before. Not everybody is the same. So you don't want to penalize the people in your future because of the people in your past. Okay, let's go down to the next spot here. Number 5. Number 5 is your willpower. This is your yellow chakra, and they show it's a little hung up here. So willpower is going to be a difficult stretch here for my Aries in May. That's letting you know that. So what can you do about it? You can will yourself through this. It's just going to be difficult to do. You're not going to be like, oh, well, I want to go and get the house project done in May. You're not going to feel that way, more than likely. If you are, God bless you. But what they're showing here is a hang-up with my hangman. And I said house project because they gave me no place like home. So this is something to do with the home and willpower being used within the home. Whether it's cleaning, a home project, whatever you got going on within your environment. That's what they talk about here as having a hard time with the willpower in May. So maybe you might want to plan this kind of stuff for a later date. Maybe June, maybe July, maybe early fall, depending on what you got going on and how long you can wait. Because May is a tricky trick there. As we continue to move down here, this is your orange. This is your emotional center of your chakra system. And here they're showing taking great pride in it. So my emotional Aries here, coming in pretty good actually, showing a nice little build going on. So I don't know if you've been through some things emotionally to kind of build up your strength to where you're at now, but your emotional center is checking in very well. Not worried about it at all. Let's move on. Now when we hit the bottom here, this is your root chakra. This is your red chakra, and this is your connection to spirit world directly through earth. So here they show the Princess of Cups, which is a message on a delay. Very interesting message to come up here, but it makes me feel like water. Okay, it's because it's my Princess of Cups. So what they're saying here is that there is some grounding that can really boost you here with your red chakra. There's only really 2 areas that you guys can work on here. Well, maybe 3. 2.5. Let's call it 2.5. But this is one that you could very easily do. Your grounding is very easily done getting out into nature. And let's say you live in the middle of the city. You got no nature around you. You can take a nice hot bath. You can take a nice long shower, I guess, if you don't have a bath. So water's a great conductor of energy. Other people go to the beach, go on hikes, go hug a tree, whatever you got to do. Get out into nature. That's what grounds you, and that is what's going to make you be super high-tuned in the month of May. So there's your Chakra Scrub, and like I said, it is available as a personal product if this interests you, but hey, you want something a little bit more personal, all about you, without your Aries friends here all bubbled into the energy. That is available on scottsagent.com. That concludes what has been a very interesting reading for my Aries. I hope you guys have a wonderful May. Please remember to like and subscribe so you see the future readings, and have a great May. Talk to you soon.